This is a short tutorial about PPG Arch, a node in PPG version 2.0. PPG Arch is pretty easy to use or pretty simple to use. I'm starting from a six-sided cylinder here and simply connect PPG Arch in this row here, and it's going into a PPG diagnostic. And then I say simply make all the faces, use a wildcard here, make all the faces to be an arch. And it does it with obviously with some faces, but not with the top and not with the bottom. PPG Arch filters out all rectangular faces, and they have to be equiangular. That means that they need to have right angles in all four corners to be able to build a proper arch here. So that has a little bit of flexibility, but in general, I would say, it needs an equiangular rectangle in order to produce a proper arch, and that's why these six-sided polygons here are filtered out. You see there's a diagnostic display. At the bottom we see the selected edge. That's why you have the edge selection here. For some reason the arch itself is gray. And that is because there's still the original polygon here. So when I pick it, you see that it's a polygon cylinder. And when I hide it, here's my actual arch. And it looks worse because it, pulls it in all the way and they overlap. So the black strips that you see here are the arches from this, looking from the side. So we need two things here. Maybe we need to lower the extrude depth a little bit, but still, you still see the side arch coming. Or we need to increase the horizontal offset so that the arch, becomes a little bit slimmer and sits more in the middle of the polygon. And now we have these proper arches. You see the labels. The door itself I call arch portal. I couldn't think of a better name. The sides here are arch extrude, and the front of the whole thing I simply call arch. Okay, we can turn that off to make it a little bit nicer and then have a look at the settings here. So you've seen already the horizontal and vertical offset. So vertical offset simply adds more space to the top and the bottom of the arch. And then, there's a setting called relative, which means, these values here are relative to the total size of the polygon, which is not a bad idea. The smaller the polygon, the smaller the offset. So let's do it this way. I can turn off the offset altogether, which in this situation doesn't make any sense. So that is good when you don't count any offset in, when the offset is already there, when you have extruded this face already, then you can turn the offset off altogether. But I would by default keep it on. And then, number of points is pretty clear, how many points build the arch itself. And then point it, when you dial it up, it goes only from 0. You cannot go below 0. So when you dial it up, you see that it creates a pointed arch. And the more you go, it's actually, the radius for this arch here is, moving sideways away from the from this thing here. So at 0, the radius for both of them must be somewhere here. And now when I dial this in, the radius for this half here moves in this direction, and the radius for that half moves in the other direction, sideways away. And that way we get larger radiuses here in the pointed arch. That's this. And then segment is something different. So now the radius is here in the middle. With segment dialing in, the radius goes down. So the whole thing becomes larger and the radius goes down. That's a segmented arch. So it's simply a cut of a circle, of a larger circle. And you can combine them both. So a little bit pointed and a little bit segment will both work. And there's also something called a vertical scale. So when I have this pointed one here and I vertically scale it down, you get a different shape, more like oriental kind of shape. And the same works with segment, and you can combine them all together. You can make any kind of arch here. So this one, for example, is more like a Tudor arch. So all kinds of arches are possible with only these three settings here. You can turn off the extrude altogether. If you don't want it, you can make it manually or do something else with the door, with this portal here. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. You see the tags down here, you can define the names of all of these pieces of the portal if you have a better idea about that. That's it about PPG Arch.